From a normal schoolboy to even becoming a god. Yuji Itadori's journey is one of the most insane evolutions in Jujutsu Kaisen. He started out as nothing more than a physically gifted teenager, with no cursed technique, no clan backing, and no place in the Jujutsu world. But through pain, sacrifice, and constant death-level battles, Yuji kept evolving. Each arc didn't just make him stronger, it changed what he was. Before we dive in, if you love Jujutsu Kaisen as much as I do, just show a little love, hit that subscribe button. We're so close to 100 subscribers, and your support genuinely means everything. Now, let's break down every single form of Yuji Itadori. Yuji Itadori's very first form is when he's still just a normal schoolboy. No curses, no jujutsu knowledge, no cursed technique, and not even a single drop of cursed energy. But calling this version of Yuji normal would be a lie. Even before entering the jujutsu world, Yuji's physical abilities were already on another level. This is the kid who could run faster than cars, the same kid who could jump ridiculous distances without even trying. And his strength? Honestly, insane. In the very first episode, Yuji casually throws a heavy shot-put ball like it's made of rubber, leaving everyone around him completely shocked. No technique, no enhancement, just pure, raw physical power. This version of Yuji is all body, no cursed energy, and that's exactly what makes it scary. There isn't much to analyze here because this form doesn't last long, but there's one very important detail people often overlook. When Yuji runs past Megumi, Megumi feels Sukuna. That moment tells us everything. Even before eating a single finger, there was already something inside Yuji. Something abnormal. Something that shouldn't exist in an ordinary human. And that mystery is what leads directly into Yuji's next form. This form of Yuji begins the moment he consumes Sukuna's finger and becomes a vessel. And one thing needs to be clear from the start, we're not counting Sukuna's power here. This is about Yuji Itadori himself and how his body and fighting style change after that moment. Before eating the finger, Yuji was already physically abnormal, but after becoming a vessel, his body gains access to cursed energy. For the first time, Yuji can see curses. For the first time, he can hurt them properly. And that single change completely transforms him. Yuji still doesn't gain a cursed technique. There's no inherited ability, no special bloodline power suddenly awakening. Instead, Yuji does what he's always done best. He fights with his body. But now, every punch and every kick is reinforced with cursed energy. This is where Yuji's signature combat style is born. Close range pressure, relentless offense, the famous left, right, and good night approach. What makes this form dangerous is how naturally Yuji adapts. Most sorcerers rely on techniques. Yuji relies on instinct, speed, and overwhelming force. With cursed energy enhancing his already insane strength, Yuji can now easily defeat low and mid-level curses. He can even go toe-to-toe with grade 1 sorcerers purely through hand-to-hand combat. But despite this massive growth, this form still has clear limits. Yuji doesn't have a cursed technique yet, he doesn't have a domain expansion, and because of that, his options are limited. Against special grade curses, Yuji can survive, he can fight, but he can't consistently win on his own. Every battle at this stage is still decided by raw physical power. And while Yuji is extremely strong physically, the Jujutsu world isn't ruled by muscles alone. But that's exactly what makes this form so important. This is the stage where Yuji stops being a normal human and becomes a real Jujutsu sorcerer. And the next form is where Yuji begins breaking his own limits. This is the version of Yuji Itadori that changes everything. After Sukuna transfers into Megumi's body, Yuji is no longer a vessel. He's no longer being carried by someone else's power. This is Yuji standing on his own, and what we see in the Shinjuku Showdown is nothing short of terrifying. At this point, Yuji isn't just strong. He's a monster in human form. First, let's talk about the most iconic thing, Black Flash. In earlier arcs, landing even one Black Flash was considered a miracle, but Shinjuku Yuji? This man can throw Black Flashes back to back like it's muscle memory, left, right, again against Sukuna himself, not once, not twice, but repeatedly. At this stage, Black Flash isn't luck anymore, it's control. And that alone puts Yuji in a completely different tier. But here's where things get even crazier. For the first time ever, Yuji doesn't just rely on punches, he now possesses two cursed techniques, blood manipulation, learned through his connection with Choso, and shrine, the very technique once associated with Sukuna. Yuji doesn't use these techniques like a traditional sorcerer. He fuses them into his fighting style. Blood manipulation enhances his survivability, pressure, and close-range combat, while Shrine allows him to attack at the soul level, and that becomes absolutely lethal inside his domain expansion. Yes, Yuji Itadori has his own domain. It's called Hometown Domain. Unlike most domains that look abstract or otherworldly, Yuji's domain recreates something deeply personal. His hometown, the streets he grew up on, the park where he played as a kid, the familiar buildings, statues, and even animals. Crayfish, horses, geese, everything feels normal. And that's what makes it horrifying, because inside this peaceful-looking domain, Yuji's sure-hit effect activates. Without even touching his opponent, Yuji's soul-rending dismantle attacks them directly. No escape, no defense, just guaranteed damage. This isn't Sukuna's domain, this is Yuji's will, made real. Now let's talk about what truly makes Shinjuku Yuji unstoppable: hand-to-hand combat. Yuji is easily one of the greatest martial artists in the entire series. His skills rival Aoi Todo, and that alone says everything. He can defeat semi-grade 1 curses effortlessly and challenge special grades using nothing but martial arts infused with cursed energy. His fighting style is extremely acrobatic. He attacks from multiple angles, evades while striking, and seamlessly switches between offense and defense. If an attack gets blocked, Yuji instantly adapts. High-flying kicks, unorthodox punches, knee strikes at point-blank range. He even masters Taito martial arts, allowing him to eliminate unnecessary movements and redirect his entire body instantly. This leads to techniques like the manji kick, where Yuji launches upward and lands a devastating head kick, enhanced with cursed energy to damage even high-level curses. Physically, Yuji is still absurd. Even without cursed energy, he can destroy walls, bend goalposts with thrown objects, and throw entire cars. With cursed energy reinforcement, divergent fist, and black flash layered on top, he becomes overwhelming. His strength has been compared to Nanami, and he's one of the few characters capable of damaging monsters like Hanami and Joso. Against Sukuna, Yuji literally jumps 20 stories across buildings, kicks massive chunks of rubble midair, and continues fighting after being slammed through multiple structures. And somehow, he keeps going. Yuji's durability and stamina are insane. Piercing blood, moving at the speed of sound, couldn't take him down. Mahito's strongest form couldn't break his will. Sukuna's relentless dismantles didn't stop him. Even when his body is destroyed, Yuji stays conscious. He keeps moving, he keeps fighting, because at this point, Yuji Itadori isn't driven by fear, like he's driven by purpose. Mentally, Yuji has evolved just as much. He's a fast learner, a disciplined fighter, and one of the most efficient students in Jujutsu history. He mastered Black Flash in record time, understood cursed energy flow deeply, and through training with Kusakabe and Yuta, even learned reverse curse technique to heal himself. By Shinjuku, Yuji's cursed energy control is so refined that Choso himself calls him a demon god. And honestly, that description fits perfectly. This version of Yuji is no longer a normal boy, no longer just a sorcerer. He is the result of pain, loss, growth, and resolve. From a school kid who threw a shot-put ball too far, to a man standing toe-to-toe with Sukuna. This is Yuji Itadori at his peak. The next and final version of Yuji Itadori is the latest and strongest form we've ever seen. Adult Yuji from the Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo sequel. And this version of Yuji is terrifying. Not because of what we've seen, but because of what's implied. 60 years have passed. Yuji Itadori is still alive, still standing, and still in his prime. Because Yuji does not age. While an entire generation of sorcerers rose and fell, Yuji remained unchanged. Physically and mentally. From the few glimpses we get, one thing is clear. Adult Yuji is now the strongest sorcerer in the world. We don't have full fights, we don't have detailed explanations, but sometimes the lack of information says more than feats ever could. This is a Yuji who has reached a god-level existence, a Yuji who no longer struggles, no longer adapts mid-fight, no longer needs to push himself. At this point, it's implied that Yuji can end any fight instantly. One strike, one move, one decision.
a being who has mastered everything and surpassed the limits of sorcerers entirely. Once we get more information about adult Yuji, I'll make a separate, dedicated video breaking him down in full detail. But for now, these are all the known versions of Yuji Itadori, from a normal schoolboy to a cursed vessel, to something that stands closer to a god than a human. If you enjoyed this breakdown and love Jujutsu Kaisen content like this, make sure to like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments which version of Yuji was your favorite. We're growing fast, and I promise the best videos are still coming.